What to do when your partner watches porn. I'm back here for Mark Ask number 7, and this was a question that, well, it's a question I get a lot. And it's a question that I struggle to answer. It's a question I get from clients, but it's probably a question that I get stacks of messages over. And I've got Dr. Marie Tudor here to help me answer it today. You are just fantastic. You came in for Mark Ask number 2. We were talking orgasms, what to do if you can't orgasm. Got you back in today to talk about another touchy topic. It's what to do if your partner watches porn. Now, if you haven't seen that Mark Ask, just to give you a quick background on Marie. So you've been a GP, fully qualified GP since the 1980s.
That's right.
You've been sexology, helping couples since the 90s. Full family therapy qualifications. You've got a fellowship with the European Committee of Sexual Medicine. You're president of the South Australian branch of the Society of Australian Sexologists, and you work with couples basically around sexual problems, sexual experiences, sexual orientation, all things sex, essentially.
Absolutely, yes.
And you've been doing it for a long time, so you're very good, very experienced at what you do. So let's get into it. Marie, we're talking about what to do when your partner watches porn. This is a new problem, isn't it? This problem didn't exist 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
So the problem of porn?
Porn.
Well, if it's, in the 1990s, men, now I'm talking that mostly it's men that seem to be acquiring porn. I know women will watch porn, but, the men that were getting porn in the 1990s had to get videos from Canberra in brown paper packets. And so with the invention of the internet, it's become more readily available. And look, some couples will watch porn together and have no problem with it. There'll be some, so for heterosexual couples, the woman might know that a man wants to just have a bit of a look at some images and things, and she's got no worries about that. But then there are a lot of men that come into me who are in big trouble because their partners found out that they're watching porn a lot, and it's basically interfering with the relationship in certain ways.
So you often see couples together, or do women come to you as a GP?
They sometimes come along together about this problem. But more typically, it'll be the man that comes along and says that, he's been kicked out of the house, or, there's going to be a breakup around
interesting.
it. And he is, they're usually very worried because they don't want to lose a relationship, and they'll do anything to make the changes so that the partner will decide not to break up.
So you get a lot of men coming in who go, I'm going to mess this up. What do I do to fix? And do they come in saying, I'm addicted to porn? How do they present to you?
They often use that language, I've got a porn addiction. Basically what I want to talk about is how it's affecting their lives. If it's affecting their lifestyle, it's affecting their relationships. If it's wasting time for them, then that's what we want to deal with.
Because we were talking a bit about the word addiction before we put the cameras on, and it's like, how do you define addiction versus, is there healthy porn watching? How do you as a doctor address that?
Addiction, it's in sex therapy circles, some people are shying away from the word addiction, and they're talking more about out-of-control sexual behaviour. I tend to not use the word addiction myself, although it might be on my website. Only to sort of be looking at, what amount of porn and what do you watch to look after your relationship and your life generally. And one main reason that men come along to me about their porn watching is that they find that they actually want to masturbate to porn rather than make love to their partner, and so their partners are feeling like they're missing out, or their partners sort of get up in the middle of the night and find that John's wanking with the porn, and then she's thinking, well, gee, I've been missing out.
And they're feeling undesired, obviously, and maybe like they're not good enough.
Yes, undesired, and yes, absolutely. They'll think, well, if he wants to see all those images online, well, then perhaps he's not attracted to me. Now, the couples that are happy won't come along to me, so I bet there's a lot of couples out there who might integrate a bit of porn into their lifestyles. But it seems that men who watch hours and hours of porn and then they escalate what they're watching can find that they need quite escalated sexual, scenarios to get aroused enough. So there can be sexual consequences of watching too much porn.
Like performance
consequences.
consequences.
Such as more difficulties getting erections, or it might mean that they find it difficult to orgasm. That they might have delayed, we call it delayed ejaculation.
Yeah. Well, I was saying this before the video, in a previous relationship of mine, I just thought, the sex doesn't seem to have been as good, maybe it's the porn thing. And it's almost as soon as I stopped watching, within a few weeks, it's like, wow, I'm having better sex. How did I not see that was a conclusion? But it made a noticeable difference quite quickly. So things like sexual performance, and things like how much you relate to that other person. So these men, are you saying, are kind of oversensitized, or they need more sensory input to get the same results? Because porn is so
what we're seeing in the literature is that seeing escalated, sexual scenes gets dopamine levels. There's something about dopamine and pleasure centres that are relying on
bigger hits.
Yeah, bigger hits. Yes, and perhaps you do need sort of like a bit of a break from all that to get the dopamine levels back to normal. So men who are watching, sort of some pretty hardcore porn, and then they go back to their vanilla partners, it just doesn't. They're not getting aroused enough in that situation.
So these women, we've got a lot of women watching this video who are going, well, what do I do if my partner watches porn? Is there a healthy level? I mean, for example, like you could take an extreme example and say, he just looked at a really sexy girl's photo on Instagram and now I feel insecure. There's kind of got to be a level where she's self-assured and isn't reacting at everything. And then there's a level where, okay, he's watching too much porn, he's looking at women too much. How do you find that middle level with all these, what's healthy these days?
It is that, I think it's very couple dependent.
Okay.
So I can remember a couple even before porn was around on the internet, and the man was in trouble because he was looking at women in bras and panties in the Target
catalogue,
and some men are sort of in big trouble for things that might. So I can't trivialise what is upsetting to the woman, but there are grades of
shades of grey.
Well, what happens is not every woman, not every man who's watching some porn will then go on out and have happy endings with massage and things, but some do.
Yeah.
and so some women may worry, will it escalate
to more?
To him going off to sex workers or, but then look, it's very much a case of the individual couple. Okay. And so if it's a problem for one, it's a problem for the couple.
For both. Okay.
I'd also like to talk about, the sexual self and the sexual experience within a couple. So a man watching some porn or a woman watching some porn is really probably about, them experiencing their sexual self within themselves. Themselves.
Yeah.
Now, if watching that porn is somehow affecting the relationship, then that needs to be addressed. But it can be a useful thing to remind men and women that, being sexual beings, we can express that sexuality with the partner, and also you can express your sexuality to yourself, and that's what men are doing when they're masturbating with porn. Okay. Probably. Like I hear from every man who says, yes, I've been watching porn. They are not saying, I want sex with all those women or men that I see online.
Yeah.
So actually some straight men are watching gay porn and they're watching and they'd say they're straight.
Yep.
But they're watching gay porn.
Yep.
And then that worries the partner too. But I haven't heard anyone really say, look, I watch porn and gee, I'd love to have sex with all those people. it's more about them having a sexual experience within themselves.
Is this, and I don't know if you follow any of Esther Perel's work, but just when she sort of talks about the erotic mind and how it will, there will always be, as soon as you create the couple, it's almost like there's always that instinct to want what's outside the couple to an extent, and that's kind of the self-erotic mind. And for example, the fantasy about someone else is not necessarily unhealthy. Like we have this thing where it's like, as soon as we're monogamous, you will only fantasize about that person, and then people feel really guilty if they have a quick fantasy about someone down the street, and they shouldn't feel that guilt. Is that right?
I think so. Look, I think there are some people who just don't fantasize. They tell me, men and women, they say, look, I'm only focused on my partner. I'm just oblivious to anyone else in the world. And then there are others that say, look, I've got to admit that I am really drawn to see that gorgeous woman down the street, and that's them experiencing their sexual self. Now, I'd say probably not a good thing to say to your partner, God, isn't she gorgeous? And I think it's sometimes dangerous to tell your partner a fantasy that is going to get you into trouble. I mean, what would be nice for a couple is that they can share their fantasies and not get into trouble,
and know that it doesn't mean
it's not. I want to sleep with her.
I have a sexual self. You have a sexual self. We're going to fantasize from others from time to time, and to be able to go, that's cool. I know she's going to fantasize about something.
I mean, so most. Okay, we're talking monogamy here.
In sexual monogamy.
In a sexual monogamous situation, it's good if both know that there may be, if there are fantasies about other people. What I do know about my partner is they really only are going to be having sex with me, and that makes me confident. So there's a whole other world of people who do non-monogamous
it'd be great to touch on that in another podcast. Actually,
that's another topic.
Another topic for another day. So tell me, okay, if a woman's watching this ultimately and she's feeling, whether she's just found porn on the internet history, or she's found him wanking to porn one night and she's feeling shitty and unwanted, what's her next? If she comes to you, what's her next port of call?
She just comes along by herself.
Yeah, is that common, or is that? It sounds like that's not actually that common. If she comes in a couple, maybe. What's your?
Well, look. If she's upset about the porn watching, she usually she's usually frog marching him into the room with me.
Okay.
And then we have to talk about what the beliefs and ideas that the couple have about what's okay within their relationship,
what
and
constitutes disrespect, or what doesn't. Right.
And
conversations.
And what does so for the woman, if she's the upset one, what does it mean to her that he's watching the porn?
Right.
Look, it could be that she doesn't feel desired. It could be we've got to find out what is upsetting
triggering
her.
in her. What the porn watching is triggering. Okay.
And look, if it's upsetting the lifestyle to the extent that some men will watch porn for 4 or 5 hours at a sitting.
Yeah, right.
And then that's either having them up all night, or they're doing it all day and not
going to work anymore.
not being productive with their work.
Yeah. Okay, so if it's particularly important if it's affecting the lifestyle.
Yes. Yeah.
But even if it's not, and she's feeling triggered by it or insecure by it, then it's important for her to be aware of what it's triggering within her, and to then talk with him about basically what it's triggering, and they have to kind of match their expectations of what their type of monogamy means.
Well, somehow negotiate what
a
situation will work for their relationship, and there are some couples, she just feels that porn is not at all acceptable within the relationship. He doesn't want to lose her, and so he'll just go along with that and probably give up watching porn.
And so does that, in your experience, when a man has said that, he's just gone, I don't want to lose her, I'm going to give it up. Is it as simple as that? Because I can imagine that lasting 6 months or 12 months and then that maybe coming out in other ways. Or do these guys actually able to give it up cold? Do they succeed and just never watch porn again?
Look, some can. Well, they're just determined that they don't
okay.
want to watch it.
Yeah. They're just like, it's no good for my life. I'm kind of like smoking. It's like, nope,
I suppose there is a habitual aspect to it. I mean, and we've got to remember that, you know, even just watching things on the internet, just even like
Facebook scrolling. It's
or just surfing the internet in a way that can become a habit, or we could call it addictive if we want to. So it's about sort of practicing doing something different, having an alternative. Like there's a man who he's more in his 50s, 60s. Anyway, he's in big trouble because he's been wasting the whole day at home. He's the home housekeeper and he doesn't do any work at home because he watches porn all day. So we need an alternative for him. It's about giving him a little bit of hit or something, some excitement in his life. And so, so we're finding other ways to build that excitement in. You know, for one man, he realised he had to go off on his motorbike more often. You know, or it was finding alternatives to the porn, so that the partner's happier again.
So in those cases, the porn's not even a sexual need. It's almost an I'm bored, I want some dopamine. Need. And then we go, let's get some more variety and dopamine in other ways.
So look, where's if porn watching is about, well, for him it's about I think loneliness too. He's alone all day, and it's gives him a bit of excitement. So he needs alternatives to that excitement. Because the sex life is fine with the wife in that respect.
Right.
It's just that it's not acceptable for that couple. So he feels he has to give it up.
And I guess with many of these problems, it sounds like the man has to be willing to work an action on it. And if he's not, does that kind of, if a woman comes to this and the man's saying, nope, this is what I do. Let's say he gaslights even. He says, well, you're being insecure. I just watch porn once a week and this is a you problem. What does she do in that situation where he's not willing to go to a therapist like you? Is there any, does she have any course of action?
Problems for the, well, look, you could try to talk about, what that porn means to him. Does that, if he can explain that it's not about wanting to have sex with other people, it's just an expression of his sexual self. Would she accept that? Look, I've seen so many women who are extremely upset about what we'd say is a man looking a bit of vanilla porn. So, I've seen all sorts of extremes, and then also women who have to come to terms with a man who's had multiple affairs and gone to multiple prostitutes. So I don't know. It's just you've just got to work with a couple and how that woman might.
He used to work on it.
Look, if it's still a problem for her, it's going to create
a problem for the couple, as you say. Yeah. So they have to really work together, and if he's not willing to work, a lot of the time that's going to. It's a problem for her, so it's a problem for the couple, and it'll be
an ongoing
issue. Yeah.
And the thing is, if it's been secretive, then anything that has been a secret activity trusts trust. And so for some, it's not that he watched porn, but he
did it in secret.
He tried to hide that fact from her.
So should men and women be communicating in relationships to each other their porn watching?
I think it'd be a good idea. I mean, this is one example. A man was watching some sexually based things on Netflix, and apparently it wasn't really pornographic at all.
Okay.
But his wife caught him masturbating with perhaps some racy scenes
in it.
And apparently that caused a near breakup, because she'd been trying her hardest in her 50s and with menopause to sort of try and get up and running to be available to him sexually, and he was ignoring her sexually and just masturbating.
Yeah.
So it was probably more about the real upset was that she felt that for all the effort she had made into making herself physically able to have sex, he was sort of he wasn't looking after the relationship because he wasn't having sex with her. You just got to take each case as it comes along and try to explain that it's not it's not like a criminal offence what he was doing. What he was hiding. He was hiding his masturbating to something very vanilla.
Thing that couple could communicate on.
I think it's
perhaps
really,
build trust over.
It is very useful to be honest about everything you're doing. So there's nothing. So that if something's found out, there'll be no upsets.
Yeah.
So honesty and just sort of I think it's a good idea to say, hey, what if she finds some images on his phone? It'd be good to say, oh, look, someone sent me these images, if you
just
see them on my
FYI.
phone, it wasn't me that did that, it's just good
it
to
builds
communicate.
that trust, and I guess that's where people, because sometimes you go to build that honesty and you go, oh, my partner's probably not going to want to hear this, bugger it, maybe I don't have to tell them. And that's probably where that starts, isn't it? That trend of secrecy.
Yes.
Whereas sometimes you need to communicate things your partner doesn't necessarily want to hear right there, but it builds that honesty and trust.
It's best to say something that you think could well be found out later, and they might think, gosh, why did they hide that from me?
Yeah.
So it's better to come out with something really early that you think your partner might be upset about. Honesty is a good thing.
Great. I think that's fantastic advice, and I think we end that there. So, Dr. Marie, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your incredible wisdom, all your experience with the viewers today. Hey, if you enjoyed or if you have a question for Dr. Marie, make sure you leave it in the comments section below. I can see if we can get her on again or if she's happy to answer a question. So she is one of Australia's best sexologists working out of Adelaide, booked months in advance, but if you are in Adelaide, I'm sure you might be able to get in to see her if you're willing to wait a little while. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the big red subscribe button with the little bell, as you always do. We'll have some bonus content in the Academy for you as well, so make sure you check that out. The link is in the description. Hit the like button. And thank you so much, Marie, for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Be with you, Mark.
Thank you. See you next time.